uh-oh. That doesn't want to go anywhere. This is why I bought that server and why I want to quit having to use this machine. Well, it's kind of gotten, it was just enough to mess it up. Once the Firefox gets opened up, it'll probably do it. And it's still not moving hardly at all. May not. It looks like my stream is down. I'm not going to be able to. I'm going to go ahead and try to kill Firefox on my main machine there. I clicked on that, but it jumped to this other deal, so now I don't know. I was trying to reconnect. It did reconnect. Why did it take that long? So what it does, it usually, whenever it does lose connection, if it's not too awful long, I don't know how long I thought it was like a minute at the most, but a couple of times in the last this year, I've been down for, I knew I was down for like 3 minutes. YouTube did. And so, and I didn't, well, I was doing it when I was getting all mixed up and messing up the beginning of my video. And so I did it on purpose, and I had 2 false starts and then the good one. And it's like, well, I'm not going back and editing that, you know. I don't have to edit it, but I could upload the backup video. And what I usually do is I don't delete the video, I just make it private when I do upload the backup video. But I tried to kill Firefox because I saw that it just can't really handle. And I guess it switched on me right when I tried to kill it. So try it again. I mean, it's getting so bad, the machine's getting so behind that I can't navigate, you know, can't do much of anything. There we go. We got rid of Firefox. Should have known better to even try that. All right. So I killed Firefox on my host machine on the Lenovo. So I got a green stream. I can't, well, that means it's good. So I won't try to open up Firefox again. And through all this time, I will be having, unless something was wrong with it, but it probably didn't, my backup video. So if I don't like the way that all turned out, it may be good to cut out a bunch of that waiting time. So now we've got Firefox up in Windows XP Virtual Machine. Let's try going to my iLO. Yeah, it may actually turn out to be a not good thing for this, because I was just, you know, having a mess there. Firefox not responding and not happening, nothing happening. But yeah, I should be able to do all the kind of things I'm trying to do. I would like to do with that. I mean, the difference between a quad core and 4 gig of RAM and 2 6 cores and 64 gig of RAM. Processor speed is, this is a 2.5 gigahertz and those are 2.53, so they're basically the same, but there's 2 of those. And like this one, it's a quad core. That's all you'll see in the system. What is this? Oh, okay, this is the security warning that you have to say yes, go ahead. Now, see, if you can do, you'll get something like that, and you click OK, go ahead, but it won't let you on the newer versions of Firefox or Chrome. And from what I've learned from Morton, you can't do it with any newer browser. It has to be one from back when this stuff was made, you know, when this server was, this was built in 2010. Now this one's the same thing, so I've done it. I'm not going to read it. I've done it 10 times now, not 50. But it looks like it's working. But you got to do this 2 or 3 times before you'll finally see the iLO page come up. And that reminds me, I don't remember the password. so I need to be ready for that. I'm really glad I tested those fans. I was thinking, oh, that's gonna take so long, but that was really very important. You just don't want to, you can't trust new stuff, much less used stuff. So, actually, it's kind of since I've been buying these used servers and parts, the ones that I'm being careful about who I buy from. Of course, this on Amazon you can get skunked, but if it's like some of the stuff I bought is Amazon renewed, and so for one thing, if there is something wrong with it, shouldn't have too much trouble getting another one. But you got a pretty good. You really kind of seems to be on the renewed stuff. You got a better chance of getting a good one than you do with something brand new because there's just no quality control with any companies anymore. They just make them and ship them, and then if they're broke, oh, so sorry, we'll send you. At least they will send you another one. A good company will, or a half decent company. So I'm trying to find my password while I'm jabbering here. Okay, let's see. Doesn't put you in the okay. Finally, I haven't been back in iLO in a while. I was whenever it was like before I put the fans in. I think I might have went in there that day that I had that regular vent fan installed. Checked. I can't get the text to get any bigger. It's already set on 300%, and it will not get any bigger. I need to make the whole XP system fonts bigger. Might not be a problem for everybody, but that is a problem for me. Let's see. Says power okay, so we'll have to go into. I don't remember where to go to see the individual stuff. Oh, I think it's in here. Fans are all good. Ah, here we go. Oh, fan power supply redundancy redundant. So that's just what I kind of thought. The green light only comes on when it's actually being used. Over there on the front of the server. Fans, all okay. Speed, 33%, 1329. See, it doesn't run them all at the same speed. Whatever area needs more fan, right now I can't hear it. That's the quietest I've heard it. I don't know why it got so much quiet. Well, I know why, because it's 66. 67 here at my house, 66 up in 4. I turned that on to see the outdoor temperature and forgot to look at it. Temperatures. This is one thing that's really cool about this. Okay. CPUs are, centigrade, but you can change it to Fahrenheit right there. I wish you could make it default to Fahrenheit. We need Fahrenheit in America. Why? Because America. Didn't say it right. It's not America. It's America now. We used to say it that way just because the way we slur words in Texas, and now it's like the thing. All right. Ambient temperature of the closet, 75 degrees. Yeah, that's nice and cool. CPUs are both 104. And see, the caution is 180 and the critical is 181. Caution in the ambient temperature is 106, critical is 113. So they can run in pretty high temperatures. Memory, 90, 100. Power supply, yeah, they're okay. Both of them show up. I wish that would highlight when I click on it, but. And they get good and warm. 105, 106. That's probably the one I'm using, and then 102 is the backup power supply. I have it selected so that, and I don't know, probably a way you could tell when that's happening in the iLO, but I picked in the BIOS, I picked one that sounded like if the number one power, cooperative, you know, I don't remember the word, but something like that. Number one power supply needs more help, then it'll help, but it's not just like this one's on or this one's on. It's cooperative setting. I don't remember if that's the word they used or what. What's this? System. 100. One of them says 108. There's so many sensors in this thing. I didn't know they had that many sensors. 102, 108, 93. It just says system, and then I/O. Those are not installed. I/O board. Okay. 8691. System. All okay. 82 to 100. I/O board. A couple times I figured out which one I thought was the video card. Actually, it might be that one. That's 111. That's the hottest one. So that's, well, no, there's one that's 147. That's probably the video card. Yeah, I would say so. But I really do wonder if the fans are actually, you know, on the video card are actually could be doing more harm than good because of the way the server's set up. It's supposed to blow from the front to the back, and those things are they're either blowing out from the heat sinks or blowing down through the heat sinks. I don't remember. I think when I put it in, I fell to the air to see, but I think it blows through towards the heat sinks. It might go the other way, but anyway, it's really going to stir up some turbulence back there, and I have learned from watching Morton's videos how important that airflow is, and you need to put the mufflers, that's what he calls them, the mufflers, put the buffers, don't take the buffers out. Those plastic buffers need to be in the right place, you know. You don't, because if you leave one out, like say you don't have one of those, you've only got one CPU in there, and you don't have a buffer over there on the other side, then all the air is going to fly over there where there's not even a CPU. You know, it's going to follow the path of least resistance, just like water and electricity, you know. So anyway, looking good. It's a lot cooler than it was without a fan up there. And this one, some of the air is going through the vent, but a lot of it's just hitting the ceiling and circling around up there. You can feel a little breeze, and when it's cool outside, you can feel a little breeze of cool air. When it's cool at night lately, I get a little chilly sometimes. We still have the air conditioner on, but this is the hottest room in the house because it's the furthest one away from the air conditioner. But I figured out something. Ever since I put that vent in there, my temperature in here has dropped almost 2 degrees all the time. That air conditioner is getting in here more because I didn't realize it, but it's, man, I just thought, well, it can't get, you know, the door's only got like a ½ inch or maybe 3/4 space under it. And I actually have some weather stripping around the sides of the door because it was always rattling when the air conditioner would come on and off, or if I had my window open and the wind breeze was blowing a little bit, driving me nuts, it was rattling because it wasn't tight. So I put weather stripping on there to cut down the noise. So the air conditioning, the return air, you know, it comes out the vent, it needs to, and I was always thinking of the return air. It needs to go back under the door, back to down the hall to the air conditioner return air ducts. You know, there's no return. That's the only place in this is, when they built them back in these days, nowadays sometimes they'll, or at least the last time I saw somebody getting a house built, they weren't doing it. I used to be a cabinet maker in the late 70s and well, all the way up to about 85. I went back and forth between General Dynamics aircraft manufacturing plant and cabinet making because I'd get laid off from GD. I'd go back to cabinet making. But up to 85, 86, I was from 75, 6, 7, from about 77, 78 to 85, 86, I was a cabinet maker. Most of the time. I was at GD from 79 for 3 years, starting at 79. Then I got laid off, went back to cabinet making, went back to GD up until 92. Had 13 years total at GD, I think. Anyway, why am I talking about that? Who knows? Anyway, I was just trying to say what I had. And I did maintenance on buildings. I did that before in 1975, I got a job when I was 18. Got married, got a job, and they trained me how to do maintenance on building, gas stations, and working on little window units and stuff like that. And then for a little while, I actually, just a few months, well, I always worked on everything. You know, I liked learning about stuff. And I learned enough about air conditioners to install them, fix a leak, you know, stuff like that, run duct. So return, if you have a room real far away from the return air vents, it's just not going to get good airflow. So, but you can run a return air duct, but they didn't ever do it back. This was built in 1962. They didn't even try to be smart about it. They have one duct going into the hall, one return air going into the hall, one in the living room, and another one in this tiny little bedroom, the smallest bedroom of the house. So it's just like a wind tunnel in there. You freeze in the summer and burn up in the winter, you know, when the heater's on, for everybody else to be comfortable, you know. So I never, you know, it's just too hard to work to try to. I ran network cable, network cables in the attic years ago and stuff like that. But and it's expensive to run a duct that far, so I never did try to run a duct in here, return air duct. And you could just run it in the ceiling, but you're not. Then you're just going to go out one and out the other. But you need the return air to be down on the floor. And so our ducts are in the ceiling, they're not on the floor like a pier and beam house or a trailer. This is a concrete slab house. So what you need to get a good airflow would be to put the return air duct down close to the floor. Well, that means coming down a wall somewhere, you know. I thought about running a duct in the closet or just using the wall. I've seen that done before in two-story houses. They just use that wall as a return air duct. The wall cavity, you know, interior wall cavity didn't have insulation. So anyway, another thing you can do that it makes sense once I did it, I put this vent in the closet to get the heat out of the closet. I knew it was going to, because that door won't even shut all the way without, if you do force it shut, the closet door, it ain't going to want to open. You're going to have a hard time because of the way the house is shifted. So got plenty of airflow all around the door. And so it is able to not only pull the heat out, with the fan, it pulls the heat out of the closet and this room too. Without the fan, it was kind of, for about a week there, I was running it like that before I got that fan. It was, the temperature of the day, our temperature's been going anywhere from 66 to 90, you know, the last couple of 3 weeks. So some nights I'd end up being chilly because the cool air would be coming in, because, you know, the cool air is naturally just going to, you know, hot air rises, cool air falls down. So if there's the hot air would be rising out of the vent, and at the same time, I've seen tests. I used to watch, I like aircraft, and I watch videos on wind tunnel tests and stuff like that. So I don't know how much is happening at any one time, but you're going to have air going both ways through that vent. Cool air's coming in and the hot air's going out. But the fan, I think you're going to have less of that happening. You know, more with the fan blowing it up and out, then you're mostly going to have it going up and out. But anyway, very unusual the last couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. I've been waking up chilly most every night, and it's because of that vent. And in the daytime, it's not, 79, 80, 82, 1 degrees in here all the time like it was. Of course, it's also cooler now than it was 3 weeks ago. It was in the 100 degrees, just 3 weeks ago. So anyway, 100 and above, it's not only helping the vent. It's not only helping. It's actually working, getting the heat out of the closet, and in the closet itself. I didn't know if that door would really block enough sound, but if you leave it open, you can really hear the server, and it gets too loud pretty quick, even if it's not ramping up. But if you shut the door, you'll hear it, and if it really starts working hard, it'll start bothering me. But if the fans really start blowing. But if you keep that temperature, you know, say if it's like this is perfect. But if you just keep it down to where you can't feel heat when you stick your hand in there, basically is what I've noticed. Then it won't make a lot of noise and it won't bother you. And with that closet's pretty well, you know, like 3/4 of the way full of clothes. So clothes is a real good thing to absorb sound. So, and the way my closet is, you might have noticed that the shelf doesn't just have a shelf on the right and the left above the hanger rods, but it has a full shelf, and I put that in there. I did it when I was a kid, and then when I came back here in about 96 or somewhere around in there. I grew up in this house. I left in 1975 and came back in about 96. I put another big 3/4 inch board. It had like a 1/2 inch board in there, and it was bowing. But so I've always done that since I was a kid. I have more space to put stuff up there, you know. When I first did it when I was a kid, I remember crawling up there and using it for a fort, but it sure did get hot in there quick. So I didn't do it much. All right, power. There we go. Present power reading, 160 watts. Oh, wow. It's usually, well, I remember when I very first started it up, sitting on the bench over here, the work bench, it would sit there at 150 watts just idling. And that's all it's doing right now is idling. So, but when you put it in the closet, it gets hot. It draws more wattage to run more fans, right? So, but with the vent, now it's good. It's pretty good. But it generally runs 200 to 250 watts when it's working. So that is, you know, people always talking about how server use way too much power, you can't use them at home. Well, if you've got any kind of desktop machine with a 450 watt or 650 watt or even more power supply, you know, high powered desktop machine like a 6 or 8 core, I think it's really going to use more than 200 or 250 watts. You know, they don't use all the wattage you have in the power supply, if you didn't already know that. It uses how much it needs at any given time. But this is, I'm very pleasantly surprised at how much lower it's running. I got a total of 1,500 watts of power supplies, 750 watts in that thing. And the most I've seen it run was close to it might have been 300 or just close to 300 whenever it was really hot. No fan in there, and I was watching YouTube videos. So, I mean, if I was editing videos or something, that would be maybe harder work. Probably harder work if I was not the editing, but the rendering. I got like 100 videos I've never been able to upload to YouTube because I recorded them in a format that I thought they would accept and they didn't, and I need to re-encode them into probably just do MP4 so that they'll work. But I never have done it because I didn't have a machine. I couldn't stand running one of those Pentiums 2 or 3 days with the noise and the heat, and I couldn't do it on any of the machines I had. You know, they just couldn't handle doing that. I couldn't use them. You know. So okay, here we go. This is jabber. This is where I just took one tab at a time, but here's the tab that tells me power supply 1, okay. Power supply 2, okay. So there was nothing wrong. I started to pull that back out and wiggle that cable, and I thought, you know what? Why do that I wanted to do this anyway. This is part of my plan in this video was to go here. I just didn't know it was going to be so much of a pain to get it working. High efficiency mode auto. That's what I've got it in. Well, the high efficiency mode. Oh, this is for the power supply. It's redundant power supply modes. High efficiency mode auto. That's what I've got it in. That's not exactly what it says in the BIOS, from what I remember, though. That's just one that's not the power setting. That's not the one that. This is a separate thing. The high efficiency is even another. These are not high efficiency power supplies. The ones I had that came with it were, I believe, but these are the next step down. There's 3 steps of them. Basic, pretty good, you know, good, better, and best. You know, it's like Sears used to be before they got to where all they had was not even good. So anyway, processors, 2,533 megahertz, 6 cores, 12 threads. That's processor 1. And then same thing on processor 2. It says proc. Think memory. Come on, you can do it. Okay. Yeah, they're all 4 gigabyte sticks. And I've got 64 gigabyte total. It doesn't show the total. And I believe there's 2 empty slots. Yeah, 1, 2 not installed. And I think that most of these servers that I've seen videos on, you actually don't want to fill those other 2 slots. It will actually degrade your memory performance by a lot. I don't know if there's ever a time. I think maybe if you get up into the really big memory sticks, the biggest ones it could use. Don't know what the biggest ones it can use are. But I don't see, 64 gig. I'd really have to be being a power hungry application to ever need more than that. So don't anticipate really needing to upgrade that any. And the NIC network. So iLO, that's the one I'm using right now. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 for iSCSI. That's a network drive. You can set up drive, some of your partitions or your what do they call them, groups. I can't remember the word. It's partitions, but they got other words for it in the server world. I've got the 6 of the drives set up in a RAID 5, and then I've got 2 of them. I think they're each one set up on their own separate RAID 0 because I've anticipated taking them out and putting my Seagate backup drives in their place, maybe at different times, because I can't reformat both of them at the same time. I have to be able to, if I want to reformat the 5 terabyte because it's NTFS, and I should have never left it that way. It's broken about 4 times. I had to fix it, and it was scary. I thought I might have lost all my data. I went ahead and did the 8 terabyte ext4, one of the Linux file system that the main one used nowadays. And some people, you can use BTRFS and stuff, but anyway, it kind of has its own software RAID. But if I'm using RAID, so I don't really need that, and it doesn't have like if you do need to work on it, there's all kinds of really good file system editors. Can't think of the name. I went blank on the names of them, but I shouldn't even try to do that. Part of Magic. It seems still running slow, isn't it? Go back over here. Kind of forgot about that. Been going on and on talking and everything. Try to go back to look at OBS and make sure I'm still recording and everything. It doesn't go, so I need to get out of this virtual machine. Go back to see if I can look at that. Yeah, it went there. Everything's still like it was, at least. Okay. Well, let's finish up in here and get out. I actually forgot. Oh, partition editors. Yeah, gparted was the one I was trying to save, and then there's other ones. The genome, it used to be called a genome partitioning tool or something. Now they call it something else. But Blivit GUI. Anyway, there's I've got 3 or 4 of different GUI, partition editing and tools on this machine. And last time I looked, that's been, a year ago when I was longer than a year ago when I bought that 8 terabyte drive, figuring out, I was thinking about going BTRFS so that it would have its own, software rated and kind of be its own backup for itself to a certain extent. I mean, if a drive completely fails, you still lose it all, So it's always better to have at least 2 separate drives, And it's the first time I've ever actually had that before, too. You know, actual mirrors of each other. I had like my other old desktop. I had like 4 or 5 hard drives in it, but each backup was just a single backup, and then another one had different data on it. You know, but well, I'm blank here. I'm getting tired, aren't I? So I won't go into anything else. Yeah, there's nothing else to go into anyway. I think this time I will click on sign out because I think maybe that's what got hung up last time. Either that or I just click. I may have left Firefox open and just shut down the machine because it wasn't responding or something. That'd more like it probably would happen. But yeah, so we're good. Power supplies are fine. The temperatures are really good. Of course, they should be at 60. You know, it's only 66 degrees. But I believe they'll do better when I get whatever kind of actual vent fan I get in there, where the air is not just kind of aimed at the vent and not swirling all around in the attic, but it's going out the vent. And hopefully I'm going to at least there's a flapper door up in the vent itself. Like I said, it's a dryer vent. You may have seen those. Let me close. Let's log out, like I said. Log out of iLO, close Firefox. There we go, that was quick. Close Firefox, and that seemed to work fine. I'll go ahead and shut it down because it's really being worked hard. Get out of this virtual machine. That'll be, you know, half of the work this thing's doing is this, so get out of there. And I'll get that door out in a minute. And it has louvered doors that when the fan turns on, they open. But it could only, when I was just holding the fan in my hand with it running, it could do it in any, you know, vertical or horizontal, either way. But after so I thought it's going to be safe to install it. And then once I got it up there and I tested it, it couldn't open them. Well, first I had the flapper door in the dryer vent and that, and it couldn't open either one. So I put a screw in the dryer vent door. I had already put it, so I just put it back in there, held it wide open, and it opened about half. Then it could open about half of the little louvers on its cover, and that wasn't going to be good. So yeah, now the machine is coming back to life there. Good thing I was on the SM58 when that thing rebooted, or I wouldn't have had any sound. In a minute I'll look and see if the rest of the cameras are even working. But go ahead and actually check on my stream and listen to it. I used to be able to use a little laptop, the one that's my server for that, but it can't handle it anymore with the latest update on YouTube. So I actually just might have had something to do with Firefox's updates too, because I think it starts ramping up the fan on it and overworking it the instant you open up Firefox, I think. But as soon as you hit anything, especially the admin pages on Firefox, you know, to see your live stream and all that, it starts ramping, you know, running as hard as the fan can run, drives you crazy, and it gets hot, really hot. Let's see, I think maybe that will take me there. And the crazy thing is, even if you reboot it, it'll still keep ramped up like that. You have to shut it down. Almost every time you have to shut it down for a few seconds, you know, a minute or so. Start it back up, and then it'll quit running like crazy. I heard a door open Thought it was somebody coming in here. Oh, that's. I don't know which one that is. That's not. That's probably. No, that's where I'm at, I think. There, live dashboard. I don't know if that's what I'm doing right now or a previous one or something. This is what I want right here. So, oh yeah, that's probably, no, that's where I'm at, I think. To listen on the headset. I have to turn, if I don't put it on the dashboard. There we go. I don't turn it up all the way. And I notice when I use the headset that it's like four-way echo every time. Never did that with the speakers. That's weird. Must just be something to do with the way ALSA and Pulse Audio works. And, I'm actually not. I have a patch bay, but I can't leave the Lenovo plugged into it along with the server, or it makes a terrible buzz that I just can't live with. So. Okay, that's good. Now, I think I want to go right on to that. I want to show you what I've been talking about on that vent fan. Kind of thought about stopping this stream and doing another one, but as long as I've got even if only my 4K cam works, and I can probably, just to get the mic stand out of the way, use the wireless. We'll see. Well, if it's working. So let's check and see. Well, let's check the wireless right now. Hello, check 1, 2. Nope, it is not working. You would hear an echo. That's what I was afraid of. So they all will have to be rebooted, or else I'll have to. You see the Cam 3 with the audio on it. Anytime my router reboots, what's going on there? It was like everything froze up for a minute. It's working, but not good. That one's fine. It came back. Those two, the last time, anyway, I don't remember before that, but the last time and now it's okay. They just do that on the Wi-Fi. It's really a pain. But my wireless mic is not going to work. Cam 4 will be working. I just have to aim it over here. Let me aim it over here now. While I'm at it. Okay, so, yeah, I think I'm not going to go messing around. I mean, I could reboot Cam. No, it'll never come back. I don't think it'll come back unless I stop OBS and start it back up again. So since that's the only thing not working, I'm just going to use this mic. It won't be the best picture, but I can still, I can do this. Yeah, that's pretty far away look at it though. So I'll just go to Cam 4 and do that. These I was going to put back in their bags. I don't have to do that now. I'll set them over out of the way. And let me get over here and get that fan. Just going to have to deal with the mic stand being in the middle of the shot. Okay, so the this here is supposed to be mounted like that. You know, the cables, the cords. This is switch to turn it on and off, and then this is a resettable fuse. It looks kind of like a light, but that's just a rubbery, plasticky deal that you can push the buttons. You know, but it's to keep like if you put it on an appliance or I don't know if it would handle being outside, but I mean it could be stand up to splashing water and stuff. But I've actually bought. Well, I wanted one for the microwave, and I saw 5 of them for a good price. About like half of that cost for one. Same basic specs in it. These are 20 amp, which is more than you need for this. But what I really wanted was just in case the motor was to short out directly. I didn't want it. I didn't want if a motor shorted out to have it in the closet and unseen like that, doing that. So so I put one of these in there because I had 5 of them. So anyway, plug box, plastic plug box, and I have some, I have all kinds of stuff I've saved over the years. These are, well, they're both brand new. I don't remember when I'm pretty sure I brought these plug boxes. Kind of mixed my old stuff with stuff that was in the garage, already, and so I don't even know what I bought and what Mom bought or whatever. But anything like this, I probably, even if she paid for it, I went and got it, because she wouldn't know what to get, know if any of it is. But because I did do a little bit of wiring, adding light. Well, I added a light over the garage, one of those lights that comes on and goes off automatically way back in the 80s. But anyway, I know she had an electrician do some wiring too, though. I think he ran the wire. Forget it. Okay, so anyway, I can since I can't reach the plug, up in the ceiling without getting on something, and I could turn the fan on and off. I could put this down low, that much lower, to turn it on and off, to where I could reach it good, and so that's why I did that. And it just so happened, this is, I think, an old lamp cord that I had in my box of, spare parts, and it just so happened that it had somehow, on purpose or accident, I don't know, it had been cut, and then it was just twisted back together and had electrical tape on it. And at first I had just pulled it off because there is a little, it's in the box. There is a little, it's actually easier to see in the picture than right there, isn't it? There is a little short cord that came with it. It didn't come with a plug or anything. This is the cord that was on it. And I actually had this wired up to my box originally, and then it wasn't quite long enough where I could really reach it good, and I thought, well, I got this extra piece that I wasn't using, and it's longer, so that's what I need to be using. So I changed my setup, and this is old, real copper wire, not aluminum or some other junk coated with, a hundredth of a thousandth, like 1,000th stick or less coating of copper. That's the way they do wiring now. A lot of it's really expensive to get real copper wiring now. So you might think this is old and not very good. And I used to think that until this was not considered a high quality cord. This is from 60s or 70s, but you just look how quick, you look how quick this new stuff breaks and wears out. And some of that stuff, if you see a bargain on wiring, you better watch out, because from China or any of those other countries like that, because it can actually be dangerous, not just poor quality, but dangerous, because, back in the 70s, 60s and 70s, there was a big thing everybody learned about. I bought a mobile home and lived in it for 9 years. First thing I wanted to know is that wiring aluminum or copper? the wiring, they were putting aluminum wiring, which is okay. It's good wiring, but when you connect aluminum wire to the metal connectors on a regular plug or a light switch, over the years they really corrode really bad, and so it doesn't conduct well. And so when the electricity is keeping on trying to go through there, it heats it up, and it heats it up high enough to start a fire inside your wall there. And so trailers were burning down and people were dying, and so they made a law that you can't do that anymore. So but there was lots of trailers that had been made in the 60s and I think it's late 60s, early 70s, or mid 60s. But here's the louvered. And they're going back to doing stuff like that. They're pulling tricks like that again, knowing. I don't know if they actually knew. Well, they may have, but I was too young, to know. But this is pretty cool, and that's the kind of louver I wanted. I knew they existed. I've seen them before, but when the fan comes on, it's supposed to open. And this one, if you turn it that way, one of them never shuts. So that's the way it goes, like that. And when the fan comes on, it could, when it was, before I ran it for 2.5 hours, it could open those easily. And it could even do it like that. It goes like that. And then the fan would be like this. So it's pulling, it's pulling up to open them. But once I got it installed, it couldn't do it. And I guess that the dryer vent, it's like it makes a 90-degree turn, maybe kind of slowed down the flow just enough where it couldn't do it. That's the only thing I can figure about that. But I'm just trying to make sure. I was going to stick that in there, and then I saw that the instruction manual, there's nothing you can really read on it. It's not very good. It's really tiny, of course. But the little instruction manual, I was wondering where I was going to go, and you could see what I was doing. So I haven't done this yet. I'm taking this motor out. And, and our wiring in this house is only 2 wires. So when I redid this with this cord, and it didn't, wasn't anything on the website, on Amazon's where I got it. Wasn't anything on the sale page, and wasn't anything in the little manual to tell you which one's ground or anything. And they're not using, see, this is a yellow, well, it's a yellow wire with a green stripe is what it is. And then there's a kind of a brownish and a dark blue. So, the common colors here, which, people always get all bent out of shape on following color codes. Trying to only use color codes to learn how to wire things up. You should never do that. You need to learn what's ground, and sometimes you need to know what's common and what's hot. What's the AC, in AC would be common. I'm sorry. Common would be ground. Common and ground would be common ground. That is it. Ground is actually 2 words. Common ground. Because all the grounds all the ground wires are common. They all go to the same place, to the ground. A real ground stake stuck in the ground. Now this house does not have that. It was wired with 2 wire. That's why they built them back then. And then the other one would be the neutral, and the other one would be the hot wire. But of course AC is 60 cycles. Every 60 cycles it reverses direction too. It's not like DC. It only goes one way, and it's really hard to wrap your head around it. I can't explain all that. I just know how to use them and what you should, some of what you should and shouldn't do with AC or DC. Like this one, of course, didn't have a plug on it at all, but you know how some, they're called polarized? Yeah. A lot of the modern ones will have one fat one and one regular size connector, on the 110 volt plug, the male plug there, and the way the device is made, it's safer if it's, and probably a lot of it has to do with just keeping it from wearing out quickly if it's always plugged in that the way they intended it to be, you know. This doesn't matter. This old fan don't matter. If it did, they should have put put that in the instructions, or put a plug on it, the right kind of plug. So anyway, at first I was like, how am I going to figure that out? Because I've been watching a lot of videos on electric motors, trying to learn about, the AC. I always knew there were AC and DC motors, but there's one that I didn't really hear about until several years ago when I started watching videos about electric motors. There's the most common motor you'll see, like a washing machine motor and a lot of appliance motors, or universal. I call them universal motors, and it doesn't matter if you're in America or Europe. The ones in overseas will be run on 220, 240 volts. So here they're going to run 110, 115 volts. That's the range of voltage. But, well, I mean, we have lots of 220 motors and things. We have people, I didn't realize this, but people over in Europe think that we only have 110 here. We have every house, almost every house built since, I don't know when, long before I was born, has 110 and 220, 240. Your dryer, your stove, your oven, it's all going to run on 210, 220. Your central air conditioning, which, they didn't have back. Well, when this house was built, it had central air conditioning in '62. So they started that. Well, they started in the mid-'50s, but became really more common. Well, it was not real common. It was a luxury in the '60s. When I was a kid, we had water coolers, or swamps. People like to call them swamp boxes, evaporative coolers, no refrigeration, just water running through what looks like filters. It was straw, and the air would be pulled through that with a big fan, big squirrel cage fan, and they were great when it wasn't too humid, but when it was humid, they made you feel worse. And it really did make you want to, like I'm getting right now, got the window open and the vent going out the roof, so that outside air is starting to get to me. Voice had trouble with that. So anyway, what I did, it's in my first video on this thing, I finally hit me. Well, most of the time a motor, the screws that mount the motor are going to be connected to ground. And so whichever wire, I did a continuity test and it rang on the yellow wire with the green stripe, and no matter what combination I got to get a cough drop. No matter what combination I did, it would only ring from the yellow green wire to the mounting screws. So I knew that was the ground. And that's the one I don't want at all, because I don't have a place. I don't have ground in this house. Hang on. I can't get this thing open. My nose is running now. I felt it coming on, but it just knocking me out all of a sudden. Okay. Doesn't feel real bad because I've got fresh air coming in, but it's 78.4, and that's where I start having trouble. Got terrible drainage and coughing and choking. Okay, I just keep forgetting. Let me go ahead and get on the desktop. Let me do this. This comes up ever so often, and I've researched it. And I don't think it's a. I don't do anything about it because I don't want to allow it. But it's because of I tried to set up some application to automatically email me when something happened, but it didn't have the right privileges, is what I'm pretty darn sure it is. And it tells you that this is SE Linux, Security Linux, and Fedora. Every Fedora has this built-in security system. Anything it thinks it shouldn't do, it won't let it happen. And if you know you want it to happen, you can run these commands and let it happen. But or in this case, I think it's just to help you figure it out. But I don't want to turn it off. So, but anyway, once in a while, it doesn't happen every time I run the machine, but most of the time it does. And it, since I'm having a little trouble with it being overworked, I thought, well, that doesn't need to be running in the background. So that's why I did that. And so anyway, I figured out which one was ground, left it off for my 2-wire system in my house, and then it doesn't matter which one is which in this particular case. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to show this. Yeah, I know how I can show this. Let me get my endoscope. That's going to be too close. I can see that. I want to show, I guess I'll just go right to the endoscope. I know for darn sure that thing, you can't see it there. Let me see if I can. Can you see how cupped it is? Sorry. Can't even hardly do anything here because I'm coughing. That is way, like more than a 1/4 inch. Yeah, you can kind of tell at that angle. There you go. That is, my legs on my tripod are getting in my way now. Yeah, you can see it there. It's kind of dark, but that was, flat across there. So it was sitting like this running. So you would think it would not go down, that came up, in other words. So, trying to see if I can get that in a place to where I can work on it. There. Okay, hang on a second. Okay, well, I was hoping cough syrup does help quicker than anything, but this ain't gonna quit. I'm gonna grab a cold pill right now. Okay, now maybe I can continue a little longer. So what I want to do, I got a couple of tools over here from the garage. Yeah, there's not. Now what I think I might do is that. Yeah, I think I'll do it that way. That way, if I'm not under the endoscope, you still see something. So shiny right there. I thought it was wet. I thought maybe there's of course, there's no capacitors or anything that'll leak in this. But I should be able to take these screws out, and that motor and blade should come out. Oh, it's a cover. Okay. Yeah. So that's motor is just a smaller version of the vent fan motors I have, but that thing is just it had to have gotten really hot. I see. So the wires go through there. It seems like it's just jammed in there. See if there's any keepers or anything. I see. Yeah, see those slots? Slot, where are you? I have to wait because it takes a while for it. I'm moving. I don't see it, and then I move again before it has time to show up on the preview. I wonder if I can do it on this camera. I'm going to just go to it, and maybe we can. You can see one of them for a second there. There's slots all around it, and I believe it's kind of a plastic press fit. Well, before I mess around with taking it out or anything, I'm going to plug it in and see if it's still rattling. I'm sure it's going to still rattle like it did. So we don't want it to be I think I'll turn the light on that endoscope a little bit. It takes so long for it to show up on the deal. I can't really, it's hard to adjust. Find the right spot. I got it up all the way now. The endoscope gets really hot. It'll kind of burn you if you touch it. Like if you accidentally bump up to it. After it runs about, 5 or 10 minutes. But it looked like it actually needed that much light anyway. So I had the cord all tied to itself. I don't like doing that, but it always makes them want to stay in a wad. But I didn't have a Quisty handy the last time I was messing with it. I got to reach over here and plug it in. That server was so quiet, I thought, what if it shut it down, or did I shut it down? I stuck my hand in there. I opened it, it's running, and stuck my hand in there. It's just nice, and you can smell the tiniest bit of warmth, but it's doing really good. So, this is pretty stiff for such a small cable. It really can fight you. Of course, it's not very heavy, but okay, so well, I guess I'll move it once I want to be able to, let's stick the cord into the fan. That's a good idea. Okay. Now, really won't see anything moving back here. The blades are right there. So, now it's quiet again. Right there, anyway. Now it's starting to make a little noise. Maybe that the bushings or bearings have worn out that quick. I can kind of feel a little vibration, and I don't remember feeling that when it was before I ran it for 2.5 hours. Still blowing about the same amount of air. It's supposed to be 33 CFM. It's not real powerful, but it was just enough to keep the thing cool. And then I was fixing to go to bed, and I thought, well, let's open up the door and look. And I was going to turn off the server, but I thought, well, let's check. You see everything looks and sounds one more time. And that's when I realized it was rattling like crazy and that there was something really wrong. Now, this is how I had it mounted. I put these weather stripping on here. All the darn USB cameras frozen up. I've been. I was really only looking at the left side of the preview and I hadn't noticed it, so we'll just use this one. I'm going to get this other one out of the way. I think it's just that the machine has been run too long, streaming. There was something setting up there where next to where that goes, and I knocked it over. I don't even know what it was. Let me turn that light out. That's bright. Might have been, you know what? Since I had that light up all the way, might have been dropping down the voltage and causing that. Because I have, you know, that USB camera, and then the light on that one. It used to didn't do that, but you know, this is still pretty new to me. This camera here, I've had it for bought it. I don't know when I bought it. 4 months ago or something. Yeah, see now the endoscope's working. I think it would have worked if I just turned out the light, but I don't care now. This will have to work. I'll just yeah, I can feel it vibrating a lot, and I don't believe it vibrated really hardly, not noticeably. It's vibrating quite a bit. So yeah, this thing caving in like that. Now I get it. It was getting so hot, and I would say, I mean, it's that it was getting hot. It was running like this. That's what's weird about it. You know, when something gets, if it's like this in there, you would think it would droop, not suck up in there. And I checked the screws and they were kind of loose and I tightened them up, but I didn't tighten them up and bow it before I, installed it. I'm pretty well I'm pretty sure I have a good memory of it being nice and flat and everything looking good before I installed it. But I was thinking that it might have shifted in here or something, and when I saw that bent like that, and it was just rattling because of that. Now it's not rattling like it did though. But that I put that weather stripping on there, two pieces, to try to cut down on vibration, because there's two befores up there that I screwed it into, and there's only two mounting screws and that's all I use. That's the way it was made. But when you get them too tight, it bows. I had to back them off. I was using I bought me a DeWalt 1/4-inch impact, and I was using that. I bought it back a couple of months ago. And that's actually the first thing I've really had a job for it, was when I was doing this, because I needed it to put those two befores in and everything. It's running okay now, but I darn sure don't want to put it back up in there and have it do that again. And here's the thing. When I bought this thing, the pictures on the page showed it mounted the way I mounted it in a bathroom, And then I looked all over that thing after I bought it. I think I looked. Well, I know I looked. I put it in a video after I got it. After it gave trouble, I made a video. I made a video on it when I opened it up and everything first, but this is the first video after it gave trouble. And I remember I kind of got sidetracked going too long, like I always do. And I noticed that on the paper that came with it, it says don't mount it like this, only mount it like that. And I thought it didn't say that when I bought it, you know. And I kept looking and looking and looking, pouring over the information, and finally, only thing I saw, I didn't see any mention of how to mount it or not to mount it on the Amazon page they had for it. The seller had for it, but I saw a picture of it like that, and that is turn it off now. I need it to be kind of right there, but the video needs it to be over there. It's because of the mic stand being like the most prominent thing in there. It's one nice thing about putting this workbench over here where I'm looking straight at my computer. I can see what the shot is. It makes it a lot easier, and it helps me, like with the endoscope, to see small things and stuff. Now it's actually, well, it seemed like it's vibrating a little less after it ran a while, but I need to go ahead and unplug it. Because I got that switch on, that's only a single pole switch, regular old toggle switch, and happened to have it. It was a brand new one that we bought at some point and never needed it, didn't end up needing it. And so, you know, it's just been in my box of stuff. So, and since I wanted to put that was, you know, good, perfect size to be able to fit in the box with, the breaker. But the breaker, it's a 20 amp. It's too heavy of a breaker for anything other than a direct short, I think, with this motor, this fan. But I figured that's better than having to depend on, you know, it's sending a bad enough surge all the way back to the breaker box to kick it off. And besides, it's probably going to kick at a lot less than 20 amps because this is Chinese stuff, you know. I got a 20 amp because it was for the microwave, and that's what I needed. But I haven't put one in the microwave yet. I have to take it apart, you know. The fuse blew, and I had I think all I had was a 30 amp fuse, and it was really too high, you know. But I got it going, and we've been using it, and it's fine. But they were just those regular glass fuses, the old timey car fuses. But here's what I'm thinking. I wanted to get this fan out of here. Where's I need to get one of my new fans. I didn't have my magnifying glass, so I wanted to, if I was really going to use one of these, I think I would use the one that's a little less watts. This one here, made in Vietnam, 2.46. That's quite a bit difference between 2.46 and 3.3, and the 3.3s is what's in there, so we can get that's anywhere accurate. I'm going to put, I started it a while ago, but I thought, well, that's going to be a waste of time in my video doing that. What's this one? I think they have the same stickers on them because, you know, they're used and they're making their own stickers and putting them in there. That's already messed up. I wonder how it got messed up. I don't remember doing anything to it. This one here, put it in the one with the sticker that's better. I don't know why that matters, but I guess I'll put it right there under the camera for now. Now, just wanted to kind of get an idea. It doesn't matter which way I turn. Well, let's look at the error and see. If I was really going to use this, that's the direction of the airflow right there. So the sticker is the direction of the airflow. So it would need to be in there this way. So you might be able to, you don't got nothing to screw it to there. It would hit those, it would actually hit those cross braces, but they're really thin. I suppose, you know, yeah, you could zip tie it like that, but and of course take this motor out. It's like, oh, it might still have electricity in it, but there's no capacitors in these fans or anything. There shouldn't be anything still in there. By now it's been at least a minute or two. And if I wired it up with 5 volts, that might be just right. I think 12 volts would make it sound like a jetliner taking off. And not with, see, it's already got its own blades. You don't need the blades. It's in there really good. The only thing is, well, if let's see, this is 2.45 amps. If I use the wall wart, like I said, I don't think I can look, but I don't think I have. I might. Okay, now I may have a. I know I have one pretty beefy HP server power supply, and it doesn't match any of this. Not server, HP printer power supply. You know, it's like a laptop looking brick. You know, it's got 2 or 3 voltages. One of them's around 10 or 11 volts. But maybe, I can't remember. I'm not even exactly sure where it is. I have different boxes with stuff, but that I would trust. Yeah, and if it like had a 6 volt or 8 volt or something like that, that might be the right amount of voltage to give it the right speed and to not be too loud but do a good job. Now connecting to those tiny connectors, that's another story. You can't really make that out, can you? I can figure it out by just probing, you know, ground it and then put, of course, it's got different wires, because, you know, like one's going to switch on, one's going to, for all I know, the yellow and red may come on both at the same time to give it a really fast, loud speed. But anyway, I can probe it to find the right speed and noise level for what I need. It would do it. If I took this out, I'm going to take it out anyway. I think. I don't know if I need to do it right now, but that would be the way I could mount it. Oddly enough, it's just like perfect. And I might put it on the other side. Yeah, I would, because I want the cover with the louvers to fit. But I would put it on the other side. Go ahead and see if I can get that motor out. So I think it's just going to press out. But I didn't know how hard it would be to press it out. It's going to be hard. It may not just press out. There may be something, I don't see what it would be, but holding it. It looks like it's just because of the, I've seen this before with, you know, with, well, plastic or sheet metal. The little splits, I think it is a press fit. It's just working better than I expected. Could be glued in. Yeah, it's probably glued in. It's sort of a semi-press fit, and it's probably glued. You're not going to get that blade off of there. I said before I thought about trying this blade on a vent fan motor because I think those others are bigger than this 4-inch, and also they're noisy. I know that. What happens? Well, I actually got lucky the other day just by, I don't remember how. I think it's just one of those where, I was watching my own video on the Braun heater fan stuff, and then it said you might also like this, and I did. It was one where it showed you how to showed you that when they get rattly, it sounds that horrible rattling noise. All it is the can't show it to you, but the shaft. So this is the back side of the shaft. The shaft, goes through there, and it's usually like a half moon type of thing. not really a half moon, but round on one side, flat on the other. And the fan, it being plastic, it with all the constant spinning, it is vibrating, and over the years, the whole water's out, and so it's rattling around and hitting the cage, the metal. It's our metal cages in those, and so he said, just get a new one, and he showed he's doing it, Get a new one and put it on the fan blade, not the motor, because the motor's just fine. Get a new fan blade, put it on there, and you're good to go again. And so then I thought, well, heck, you might be able to just, put a bunch of epoxy in that hole, set it back on there, and leave it alone for a day or two or three, and let it really dry good. You might be all right like that too. So I was thinking about, maybe I really could use one of those if I can get it to not be too loud. But, of course, they run on 110 volts, and that's what I do prefer. Since I already, this switch would work. Even the breaker would work, but I think it would have to be like 35, 40 amps to kick it off. Well, if it's a dead short, it would kick it off. But, yeah, I could use this, but I'd be wasting a really good AC cord. I'd have to, I guess I could cut it back somewhere. Well, I could just cut it as long as it needs to be to get to my power supply. Or I could run, what I could do is just run another. I'd probably just rewire it again. I've just already done it twice. I don't want to do it again, but I could rewire it again with some appropriate DC wiring and still use the switch. This switch will work on AC and DC, and actually that breaker would too. Not really a breaker, it's a resettable fuse, but that's what they call it. Yeah, my thumbs are sore from all the work I've been doing. That they've torn well, let's see. The last day I really did any hard work was Friday or Saturday. This is Wednesday now. These are still sore, but they had come loose. Every one of my fingernails. I don't think there was any that hadn't, and I don't know why they all did that. But my thumbs were the worst, and these forefingers, they had come loose from the fingernails, and they were hurting so much that I couldn't press on anything, and I just noticed that when I tried to press on this one really hurts. That one's better, but those those are cold pills. I take an allergy pill and a cold pill to get the right ingredients that I need. You pop them out of those little plastic things with the foil back. Well, I can hardly ever get those to pop open anyway without making those come loose there. So I used, actually, this little 6-inch scale. It's a machinist scale I used to use when I was a tool maker. Better known as a steel ruler or something. But anyway, a knife, it's actually harder to do it with a knife. But it's really weird. But I just put the corner of it and just poke them. And that's usually not too hard. Sometimes they're a little harder. Depends. I don't slit them wide enough or something. But this whole, ever since I separated my skin from my thumbnails and all my fingers too, took everything out. Well, I had to start cutting them open more to get them out. The last couple of days, it was just I could feel it. It felt like it was splitting it even more, and it probably was. They weren't bleeding; they just hurt. And I've been putting, and I think that did help a lot. I've been putting, kind of going back and forth between iLO and antibiotic ointment in there. Just filling them up and leaving them for a while. Of course, I wash my hands a lot, so my hands are always dry and cracked and peeling because I wash my hands a lot. But that's a good thing right now. Those weird little habits that some people have, like me, like washing your hands too much, that might save your life in a pandemic. So there. So yeah, I'm really getting tired. I mean, I've gone for so long now, 3 hours and 45 minutes. I doubt anyone will get this far into the video unless they really like to skip through. But you don't know what's coming. Well, you don't know what's coming unless you skip through. So you might skip the boring parts and You might find something interesting in a long video. It takes me long enough to do the work and make a live video. It takes, you know, always a minimum hour to set up. It's usually 2 or 3, and then do the work and the video. So I can't remember when I started, but it's 5:47, almost 6 in the morning. I'm gonna say it was about midnight. I can't remember now. Maybe a little after, maybe 1, when I really got. I don't remember when I started setting up. I don't remember when I actually started doing the stream. Well, I could count backwards, but let's move on here. I really want to get that out, but I think it's going to take. Well, I'm afraid that what they did was put some super glue or something like that on it and shoved it in there, and now it's glued in. So, as a matter of fact, I think I might see some. Oh. Huh. That in more than one place? One. I see plastic. That's probably what's glued. Can't really see any signs of glue. Wait, I think I see a little. What's it called? CA glue or something? There's some really super duper glue I've just learned about recently. CA glue is one I keep seeing that people use on like building model airplanes and stuff. RC, or remote control airplanes. But there's one that I saw a guy was using for something, and he said, man, this stuff works better than anything I ever seen. And I saved a screenshot of the bottle, and I think I even put it somewhere where I hopefully could find it again. But usually my screenshots, I just have them always go to the same folder, but then I'll end up with 500 of them after after a year, and I don't ever want to look through them. So I try to move them over into categories, like a folder that is about that. But yeah, that's actually pretty important to all this. Let me get the endoscope. I think it's going to work again. Let's check it before I drag it down here. Yeah, I think it was just the light. Oh, great. I forgot that I was actually on it when I did that. Okay, but if you can see, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I'll just pick it up. That little thing right there. Why don't I see that? There we go. Oh, I see. That cleary, shiny thing. There's another one. Let's see. It'd be a lot easier if I could. This thing goes on down. I've got it up about as high as it'll go. That's probably too close. That's more like it. Yeah. So there's one. They're not where I think they are because of the way this camera is. There's slots, and then so I think those are what is. They're either like a tight fit. I'm gonna have to put it where I can see it. They may be the tight fit, what's causing the tight fit, or they may be. They're too uniform to be the glue, I think. But yeah, I don't know if you can really tell what I could see looking at it with the magnifying glass, what it is, but it's not. They're very exact shape. They're not just a drip of glue. They're so too tired to fool with it and get work. I'm really hungry too. I'm gonna have to stop and eat. Yeah, it feels so tight in there that it doesn't flex. It doesn't act like it would ever move. And the blade's in the way to try to work on it from this side. So I mean, I might be able to Yeah, I might try. I mean, I think the first thing I would try is some alcohol, and maybe denatured alcohol. I have some in the garage. It seems to be better at cutting things. If it was anything like hot glue, that kind of material, then alcohol will dissolve it. Regular old rubbing alcohol will. But let's go this way for now. I've been bending over kind of natural, just by kind of instinctively staying close to the mic. Actually, I don't have to be any closer than right there, but it's probably too close. I was trying to do that, but the sort of bang. I got my window open and can hear everything so much better. I don't know if that picked up, but it's probably not on the SM50. I don't know if somebody. At first, I thought it would sound like a gun, and we do have some people that like to do shooting at all hours of the night. They got a target thing down the road or something, and which is really weird because I don't think that's legal in the city limits of this town, and the city limits, you got to go 5-10 miles to get out of the city limits from here, I think. There's kind of, you know how the lines will go this way and that, so I'm not sure. It might not be as far, but it sounds like they're like a half a mile away and shooting a big rifle or something. Anyway, I haven't heard it lately, but that sounded almost either like first I thought it sounded like some kind of gun, and I thought, nah, it sounded more like a wreck, or somebody dropping a big bunch of metal off the back of a truck or something, which it's almost 6. So people could be out there getting to work. Anyway, it just startled me. And you can kind of see one of those deals right down below my finger there. That's what's holding it. I could tell that. This is not, that's metal, but I got a feeling if I were to somehow put, well, I don't have a press. I was thinking if you did have a press, you'd be able to bend that thing, though. And if I took a piece of wood and stuck it on there and tapped it with a hammer, might get it out okay, or it might just destroy the motor. So I mean, it's probably not any good, but I want to make sure if I'm wanting to send it back, I don't want to tear anything up. Put it back like it was, put the original wire on it, and put the cover on it, and send it back. But I think, see, if I go to buy, let me put this away. Well, let's get on the cam again like that. Put this up. I have to get up to reach that. Okay, I made it. Okay, so I'm going to put this in its bag. It's good to have that's anti-static bag, you know, it looks like it anyway. Good to have that for electronics parts. I tell you what, if anything I ever bought used, I've never seen, I'm like, why didn't I always do that? You know, I've never seen such great quality to where, you know, something that was made 10 years ago is in better shape than something brand new. 2.5 hours. And it's basically, and the way I think that bushing is worn out is what I think. Yeah, it's not a bearing. It looks like copper. It don't look like brass. It very much looks like copper. And I would guess that they discovered when people installed them like this, that's why they put it in that piece of paper that came with it. It doesn't have a lot of play that way. A little bit, about normal, what I would think. But hanging this way I would guess, somehow causes it to wear that quick, and they didn't know it when they designed it. So really that's my coffee. There's not really anything left in there. I guess I should put this cover. I was going to show the couple things on the internet there right before and then go and quit. But I'm going to put this cover back on there because I don't want to lose the screws or anything. Or something get in there and completely mess it up, you know. But I don't think that this fan, I thought maybe if I took it out and didn't use it in that direction, it might be usable. I don't think so now. It's going to be tricky, it looks like, to get that, stab those holes. There. This is a magnetic screwdriver, but there we go. I got that one started. But I don't think these are a little bit, yeah, it's getting weak. I need to remagnetize it. You know how you do that? Quick. Car battery, I don't have, it's out in the garage. You get a piece of solid core wire, house wiring, insulated, wrap it around and around and around until it looks like a spring, and then just touch it. One to the power, one to the hot, one to the ground on the battery. And put some safety glasses on because you may have sparks of melted lead coming, hit you in the face. And just go, it's just about all it takes. It'll scare you on a power. If you got it, well, I got like an 850 cold cranking out battery in my Blazer. That's what I usually use. It'll scare you with that one. And it will melt a 1/8 inch by deep by 1/2 inch spot. So don't touch it anywhere. Touch it on the outside of your battery terminal. If you got the regular kind, you know, you can get way out. If you got them side terminals, I don't know, I probably wouldn't do it on that kind of battery. But that's how I learned that when back in the 70s, and that's how I've always magnetized my screwdrivers and stuff. And it lasts for a year or 2 or 3, and then it'll need to be done again. Or you can just leave them on I've got some in my tool. I've got a really nice strong earth magnet in my toolbox that I don't know where I got it. It's got like a hook. It's got metal on it and a hook. It's like glued into a metal U-shaped thing and a hook on the top. And it's not really anything you can pick up with it. That's what it looks like it's made for. But I mean, it's not strong enough to pick up heavy stuff. I've used it before to tie a string on it, and if I dropped a screwdriver or something metal in a place where I couldn't reach, you know, I've done it that way. Or clamp a pair of baby vice grips on it, and if you could just, you know, you just need another 6 inches or something to reach something. But anyway, I don't know where I got it now or anything, but so I'm going to go to the web here, and I'm going to, there was one thing I was going to show was, I want to show the kind of vent fans I keep talking about. And also I want to go ahead and check my stream again. It's weird being back on this computer after running that fast, powerful server machine for a couple of weeks. I'm like, why is it so slow? What's wrong here? I didn't realize how bad this thing had gotten. Everything. I thought some of the web pages weren't working well because they weren't written well. It was this machine just not being able to keep up. It's weird being back on this computer after running that. then I got to realize when I turn that on, you can't understand nothing because you're getting like a quadruple echo. And it keeps going after I shut it, I think. So, I forgot what I was going for. Boy, this is weird. I'm not sitting right in my chair. I'm sitting straight up. I can't stand it. But it's one way I can do this workbench thing here. Let's see. Those bookmarks are only on the other machine. I don't sync my bookmarks because if, I was doing it for probably a couple of years when Firefox started offering that syncing everything. And one time I used to have it. I had to do it automatically, or I don't know. Anyway, one time I lost all my bookmarks, and I hadn't backed them up in a month to 3 months, and I lost a whole lot of really important to me bookmarks. And so I had read about that happen. I think I might have already read about it before it happened to me, but on their site, And anyway, so since then I just manually back them up when I think about it, and I don't. I can't risk anymore. I'm not on my home keys. Amazon. So I can go. I can go to my orders to show. I'm not going to go over this a whole lot because I already did that the other day. It's still there for $16.99. That's the pictures of it. And look at that. They talk about the Archimedes principle. That's what I call a squirrel cage fan. That's not anything like, if you may have noticed, the fan blades on here. We didn't show it. Somewhere I think. Well, I showed the blades, but they're not squirrel cage fan. They're a different shape. They're not exactly the same as like these duct fans that I'm fixing to show you one. But there's the picture that, of it mounted up on the ceiling. Ceiling mounting in bathroom. And then one of the first things I noticed when I looked at the little manual that came with it, there's the blades. They're not anything like the squirrel cage. So that was a clue that I guess I should have paid. Oh, and it shows 4 screw holes and there's only 2, which, that's not surprising. Not a big deal. But I could drill more screw holes if I wanted them. I just didn't think it really needed it. But, yeah, I bought it completely thinking that, it was made to mount the way I needed it to be. And there wasn't a lot of reviews. Let's see. There seems like other people have bought them since then. Yeah, there was only like 3 reviews. So that one was there before. It says it turned backwards. That one says nice little fan, but it didn't work for them, so they did something else. Yeah, there's still only 3 reviews. It says 6, but there's we'll click on it and then it just says, doesn't really say anything good for the price of it. So I thought it was worth the risk for $10. And yeah, there's still only 3 reviews. That's really weird. I noticed that. It says 6, and there's no, I don't know, maybe if people give it stars but don't write a review, they're counting them or something. That's the only thing I could figure. But I've noticed that a lot. I always look at the reviews before I buy stuff. I have lists of, save and compare. I use that a lot. There's a filter I may get. This is for a car, but I was thinking about getting a HEPA filter, but they really do restrict the airflow. I need a fan that can blow through whatever kind of filter I get. But see, I don't want bugs and mosquitoes and stuff to be able to come through. But no, even that's not been a problem so far, as long as the fan's running. Well, it didn't happen. Well, when I didn't have the fan in there, I had a filter over it, but it was one of those kind of looks like fiberglass. And I think it does make you itch, but not like fiberglass does. It's blue. It's really kind of loosely woven, but you can see through it, the light through it. But I didn't have any bug when I had it up there. I didn't have any bugs or anything come in on me. And I've since then I've only had I've kept this fan that I showed at the beginning of this video running, and I had I think I had a couple of mosquitoes, but the thing is sometimes they come in because when I open the window they always come in through there. I think there's gaps on the sides, and some of the mosquitoes I've noticed are so tiny they could get through the screen, and but not a bunch of them, just like one here and there. But here's the duct fan that you see a lot of, and I almost bought one of these, but then I knew I would have to do something. I wanted there's a good picture of how. Let's go ahead and go to that. That kind of blade. I remember when I saw them, I was like, oh yeah, I remember those from when I was like a kid. I used to see them, or a very young adult. But when they get old, I think they tend to rattle. But here's the whole design. It's just got like a U bracket inside of the tubing, and I've got tubing, and I've got fan motors, those Braun fan motors that are basically the same kind of motor. That one looks a little different, but this didn't have any louvers, and so I was looking at another $12 for a louver cover for it. So I thought, well, that little plastic one has it all, and if the worst case scenario, I could just end up using the louvers and stuff for it. Kind of looked at this one. I almost got this one. See, the one that I got, where's it? Does it say somewhere? It says 33 dB. Somewhere, I thought it said the CFM. Let's see. It might not actually say the CFM. That's another one. It doesn't look like it's given a CFM. Now there's a Braun, just a fan all by itself, but I know how loud those are. I've got 3 of those. We got a small one, but like that, but with a heat lamp in the little bathroom, and it's rattling like crazy. And the heat lamp, first I thought the bulb went out. I put another bulb in it, and then it just quit working, and I never have got it apart to look at it. But I figure the wires might have melted or something. Yeah, there's no actual rating of the CFM. It's not completely wimpy, but it's not real strong feeling of it. I couldn't guess the CFM because I haven't stuck my face into that many fans that I knew what the CFM was. But I've been comparing all the different ones I've been looking at, and like I have a frame of reference for the Braun ones, the Braun brand for the bathroom vents, and I've noticed that any of them that have that kind of motor, if they have that kind of motor, and then they're going to be pretty darn loud. If the more the CFM, it seems like the more louder they are. So you can tell about that by the comments too. But somebody wrote in their answer, 200 COM. What the heck is a COM? I've looked at the other, like the other ratings they use. There's nothing called COM that I can find. That's another, that says it's 100, but that's, you may also consider, that's not this. So yeah, that Braun one, it says it's 50 CFM, and I was really thinking I'd have wanted between 75 and 100 at least CFM. But then when I got pulled into the bargain there, $10 one, well, 16 with 5 off, so it's like $11. And I looked at those a lot. Oh, I'm doing this again, aren't I? I thought I'd remembered in my head that my duct was 6-inch, so I looked at 6-inch fans for almost a whole day. And this one had good ratings, and I almost got it until I saw the one I have here, but it had pretty good ratings. Better, not great. See, I like to get things that are no less than 70% 5 stars. But so I showed that one and that one. These are the first ones I came up when I started searching, but those are basically, they have good ratings. This brand here, really good ratings. That's a 4-inch. But the thing I didn't like about them is they're made for stereo cabinets. Well, they blow the wrong way for one thing. The grill, see, they're blowing through the grill instead. They're going the opposite direction, but they have speed control. But the reason I didn't really want to spend another $5 to get that is because really all they have is computer fans. So some of them are. So I think those might be about 80 millimeter fans, and the other ones are like 120 millimeter or close to it. But they're DC fans, and I really didn't like the idea of, like I said, putting a AC to DC converter up in the closet, out of sight where you can't see it at all ever. I don't hardly get in there. I've been in there more now than I have in the last 10 years because my clothes that I wear all the time, if I get in there, it's just to get a pair of jeans. My clothes stay in there so long. I have a bunch of nice flannel shirts and stuff, but I don't. Well, these last 5+ years have been a lot warmer. It's not even cold in the winter that much around here. But except for it'll hit you like when you least expect it, and it'll be down to like 22 degrees, 80 degrees one day and 22 the next, But they just have a regular old wall. Oh, it runs off of 5 volts, and you can plug them into a computer USB if you want, and then when the computer comes on, it comes on, or the device. They were saying this is aimed at stereo devices, home entertainment stuff, and they were saying you could do that. But then that told me that's why I said, oh, they're just computer fans, and if they run on, computer fans run on 12 volts as a general rule. There are some that'll run on 5, but a fan that'll do much moving of air runs on 12 volts, a computer fan, DC fan. So I thought, and some people said they were good, some people said they don't move enough air, and I figured for what I needed, they weren't going to move enough air. Now here's another one of those 6-inch fans. I think this one might have a little better. It's got a speed controller with it, and that's a 6-inch. I don't think that other one, that 4-inch, had a speed controller. And these are what I was looking at first because I had not went out and measured my duct pipe. I have a piece of duct pipe and a flexible hose that used to be on that dryer vent that I put in there. See, this brand has, I think that's the one I already showed you, has a 4-inch. But and it's kind of hard to tell because when it's same brand, this could be 5 out of 5. Oh, it's only one review. No wonder it's a 5 stars. So that's not a very good way to tell if it's any good or not. Not having any more reviews than that. It says 6 ratings. I guess that's what they're doing. I guess they're that one has a speed control. This may be a different brand than the first one I was looking at showing. But that still makes me need to buy or build, I had to buy the louvers, and this is something I'm not going to try to make, I mean, sure, you could do it out of wood or metal, but who would want to do that? I mean, somebody would, and there's a speed controller that you can just add on to them, but that's a big spend of money. There's a good price on what sounds like a really good fan. That's actually a radiator fan, and but I figured it's going to be. They said it wasn't too loud under the hood of their car. One of the reviewers said that, but see that's that guy or girl. I guess it's a guy. He put him there for his add some more cooling to his vehicle. He said they weren't very loud and they worked really well, and so. But when you look at the specs, And see, they've got, well, it looks like they've only got 5 ratings. Sometimes you get into stuff that, well, it looks like they actually have some reviews there. But, so I think it's pretty good. But, 12 volt, 80 watt. Boy, that would definitely take up, I mean, my old computer power supplies, I'd have to take one that actually in a machine that would run, otherwise I don't have any out. I did have a few extras, but when I was building my power supply amp, I blew out 2 of them because I wanted to get 24 volts, so I ground lifted one, and I was testing with my old realistic multimeter, and they have really long leads on them, and I accidentally grounded. I did it to 2 of them. Blew one out, got another one, ground lifted it, and I did it again. And then the 3rd one, I finally got it all, got it together without blowing it up. Boy, if you're ground lifted, and normally if you short a computer power supply, it just shuts down. Not when it's ground lifted, it blows. So I'm talking about desktop computer power supplies, not servers. But anyway, I think it'd be too loud, although I think it's probably the most durable fan you could get. It's made to work under the hood of a car, with all kinds of, for $22, and it's 6-inch, which is too big, but I could probably figure out a way to either buy a reducer of some. You could buy a reducer out of sheet metal, or I wouldn't use PVC. That heat would probably warp it if at the very least, coming from that heater in a hot day. It could be dangerous. I'd be worried about it catching on fire. So that is, and I had already had these like different. I thought about just buying a pack of 120 millimeter fans and using them, but then you got to use a wall wart or a computer power supply to run them. You can just run one of those on a wall wart, I'm pretty sure, because they're not high amperage, I don't think. I don't know if it tells you. Yep, there we go. 4-pin. So you couldn't control the speed without a power supply and then a way to talk to the power supply. And 57 points. That's not bad. That's somewhere I got the idea this fan that I have is 33. Maybe I found it somewhere else besides the page where I bought it, but maybe I'm thinking of different ones. Some of those real regular duct fans, they range from advertised 33 to 75 CFM. But the noise level is not too bad. That's not going to be too bad. 25 dBA. Or dB, most time people just say dB, but I think they had pretty good, decent ratings on those. Yeah, they're pretty decent. We see people do all kinds of things with them. See, they're renting a room with it, and that's I think that's a Bitcoin mining rig or something. What it looks like. A bunch of GPUs, video cards, and they said that it's bad. They were really bad because those are coming loose. Well, that happens on those things all the time. Those Molex connectors, you just snap them back in. I mean, if the snapper inside is broke, that sucks. But what'll happen is this will get stuck on the. That's the female. It's always see. It's really hard. It's always, you got to go in circles to remember which one's actually the male and female. They look opposite to what they are. Look at the connector, not the sleeve for it. But anyway, I've had that happen. They get hung. They've been hooked up for a long time. They get kind of corrosion built up in there, and you pull them off, or they might get squished and then shoved on there, and they'll do that. But then you can just snap them back in place. I've never had one. And those are always get crooked. Just straighten them out. That's the male. That's the female. But if you just look at the cover, then you might think that's the female because it's got the bell hole, But this is the female. This is the male. And but I've had those go. Those always go crooked. I mean, they may be worse than he's ever seen, or might be worse than I've ever seen. I don't know. I didn't buy the fans, but anyway, fans like that could work. And again, I don't know what they're talking about. I don't think there's a controller that comes with it. But they're doing it for everything, just like I do things. They're not even one person bought those for a computer that did a review. That's funny. But and I can use the extra ones in my old computers that need fans. I can change from 80 millimeter to 120 on most of them. There's enough big enough slot. Some of them don't have a big enough hole. You could always just drill more holes in the thing if you wanted to go to town and working on it. But they're the ones I have bought are like whisper quiet compared to 80 millimeter fans, and they move more air. The machine runs cooler. But again, I would have to supply it with DC, and in order to let's go ahead and go in there. In order to control it, the speed, it'll go either way, 3-pin or 4-pin. That's all right. But actually, all I'm going to have is a hot in the ground, you know. All that fancy stuff comes from the power supply, but the BIOS is what tells the power supply what to do. So it's like you'd have to plug it into a computer for it to. And I actually thought, okay, I think I may have another power plug inside of the server. Maybe I could buy another really long cable. Well, a cable that could reach to the back at least. Actually, there's a couple of more connectors on the one I have in there, but that darn video card needs 150 watts, so I wouldn't add anything else to that cable. But I think there's another plug in there that I could use for power, and I'd have to get another long one, but kind of like what I bought, which I don't remember what I paid for it now, but and then they would come on and off with the machine. If I shut the machine down, it would go off. But that's when you then. So then, if you're gonna turn the fan off or let it go off automatically like that, then you definitely need flappy doors to close so that cold air doesn't come in on you, or all your air conditioning doesn't go out. Probably wouldn't be a problem there. So I don't think that it's in the winter. It's coming up. You know, it's September. And I've already had, every night's been chilly since I did that, actually. No, not every night. Some nights it's been hot because it was hot outside, like 85 or something, you know, at night. But, and raining and humid, and I just wake up sweating, you know. But, depending on the weather. So, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to be so changed by the weather, my temperature in here and the humidity. So I want those little flappy doors to shut. And I want to be able to I want it to be strong enough that I could put a filter on it and it still work, so that I don't have the one thing I'm concerned about is you know, breathing stuff that I'm allergic to coming from the attic. And that old insulation that they put in these attics, I really don't know what kind it is. Me and my old neighbor, he grew up in the house next door, and he lived there most of his life until about 3 or 4 years ago, and he got married and bought a house, you know, in our same town, and so his parents still live there. And he was coming over there. They still had a travel trailer, and they had couple of computers in there that he used to play with, and he gave me those, and he was cleaning out that travel trailer. You know, he was getting rid of all kinds of stuff that he had more than one place, but he brought me one from his house, one from there, a UPS battery backup, which the batteries are bad, but he thinks that it works, and a monitor. No, I had 2 CRT monitors that were bad, and I gave him them to go take to the scrap day, the cleanup day in town, and get rid of them. And he had 2 that worked, but I didn't have room for 2 of them, so I got an 18-inch CRT. I had 2 CRTs. One was a flat screen, 17-inch flat screen. But it worked, but it was smoking and sparking, and so it was too dangerous to use. And that really is a shame, because it actually happened because I bought an adapter to be able to plug in the D cable into it, and instant I plugged it in, it shut down. And I just thought, I did it again and again, and then it started smoking, and then I'm like, well, you idiot, why'd you keep doing that? So it was shutting down to protect itself, and I kept doing it. So I started, and I was looking at regular room fans, and I ran into that dehumidifier, and I thought, that's kind of cool, but I didn't need that. There's some more. Oh, I already showed those. So all these kind of things that I think I will get one day. I said I wasn't going to go over all this, but I'm doing it anyway. I'm curious now, as I can't remember all the different fans that I had looked through. So yeah, that was my first one I thought I might get, but I kept thinking of, and I didn't say, a duct fan like that. I've got the Braun motors. I'm not sure how big the blades are, but if they are too big, I'd have to buy something. I don't think I got anything to make. Well, I have some sheet metal. That'd be hard to do without tools, sheet metal tools. But anyway, the Braun fans and the duct stuff I have, and I'm sure I could make a little U bracket to make me one of those without buying anything. But I know they're loud as heck. But I think one of the biggest things of them being loud is because they're inside of a metal box. It's like a metal speaker, But it's not just that they're loud in the room, which that would drive me crazy, but they actually put so much noise up into the attic that it bothers anybody in the living room or in the bedroom that's close to the bathroom, So I can't have a really loud fan. I don't want, for, all these reasons. So I'm trying to go through there, and it jumps. It makes me so mad. Can't just grab that blue bar and go down smoothly. Jumps as you're going along as it loads the page. Those were $27.99. Now they're $40. Yeah, that is a brand that I have really liked when I bought them before. Motor run capacitor, actually bought that. I haven't used it yet. What's that? A video card. Whoa, freaked me out. Video card that. Okay, yeah, it's still streaming. Now this is what, actually the one that's in the bathroom, it says universal, yeah, okay, that says vent fan. The heater, my vent fans all work. It's the, and I'm glad I didn't go ahead and buy that. I had not looked at my old videos or going out there and taking, the stuff's all in boxes and stuff and stacked up, and I have to get it down, but this is what the vent fans look like. Let's see if we can find out. This is exactly what I've been talking about for the Braun. This is a replacement that would work in the Braun 655. And you can reverse the direction by just unbolting this and flipping it around. Flip the motor around the other way. So I think it tells you how to do that in here on this page somewhere. It does on some of them. As far as the Braun exhaust fan, it's real easy to replace them. They just plug in. They're literally plug and play. Okay, now here's all those measurements, but I didn't see the, yeah, they're not too big. 2.5 by 2, basically, inches. So, and is that a, yeah, it's what I was talking about. See, round on one side, flat on the other. I'm trying to see the. You can't. When I try to move my, it keeps moving on me when I don't expect it to. Those may not be inches. Those may be centimeters or millimeters or something. They're not making sense. I'm almost certain those shafts are 1/4 inch shafts. And that says 0.19. Well, it could be. That'd be just right at 200 thousandths. So it may not be an actual full 1/4 inch. and there's threads on the other end down here. And those usually rust real bad, and it's hard to get the blade off. That's where the, well, no. Some of them have, I remember trying to get one out of its place, and I never got. Oh, the one with the squirrel cage. So see, I was thinking that I was only thinking of the squirrel cage ones, and that's actually the heater fan. The heater motors are what the thermal fuse has blown on 3 of them that we've had now, and I figured that all out and learned about it several years ago, but I didn't. Well, I ended up finding some. I got like a 10-pack of thermal fuses for real cheap, and then I never did put them on anything because I didn't fill up to get up in the roof to do the other one. And then I get feeling better, and I spend 2 weeks on this little project, and have all these other things I need to do. But where's that picture there? There's only one picture of that. But this is the vent fan, what it looks like. And if that's 4-inch, then just mount that in some tube, and I'd have one of those. If any, those fans are okay. I think the motors. I've got 2 of those that are been used for years, but they're working fine. But the ones that turn the squirrel cages for the heater, they did. I could stop them with my fingers that's sitting on the bench. So I think they got. When motors get old, they just lose their strength. Even if they don't have any shorted windings or anything, I don't really understand exactly why they do that, but they do. I've known it ever since I was a kid. Of experience, learning that happens to them. But the thing is, I thought we'll do all that work just to find out that. So I went and bought the other one just to find out. So now I've already done 3 times more work than I would have done. Just to find out that they're too loud, or too weak. Well, the vent fans should be not worn out, but the ones I was originally thinking of the squirrel cage ones, and I had to kind of turn around in my head. I was like, now, wait a minute, are they? I was thinking that both of the fans were squirrel cage fans. Is what I'm trying to say. And this one is just another one I put in there. I think it had. Doesn't seem to have better ratings, but it might have been a lot cheaper when I first found it. That little blade is a little different, and I actually think that might be how ours is. Those are holes right there, and the air can pass through, there. I don't know if one would be better than the other, but anyway. The squirrel cage fans, well, I think they probably put out more air. They're not as loud. They're loud, but they're not as loud. I'm looking at make sure my stream's still working. I'm not talking to myself. They're not as loud as these. These are just, man, raise the roof loud. And then, here's a brand that I bought some of these fans. I think there's 2 with an A in them. I'm not sure if they're all. Anyway, these I had been researching for. Like I've got have a red fan on one of my machines that went bad, and I wanted to get another one because I like it has red lights on the front and a red fan light. It's a red LED lit fan. So that's what I was looking at for that. It went up. Should have bought it when it was $7.99. So did that one. A lot of these, a lot of times if you'll wait, they'll go down. Well, they'll go down like at certain times of the year, holidays and stuff, and then they'll go back up. These were the first ones I found that had good reviews, and they were $14.99, and I really knew that was a good deal, but I didn't buy them, and now they're $23. But those are the first ones I showed. They seem to be all right too. They look better. They have a nicer design. And my old machines need 2 or 3 pin. And if you put I've tried it. If you put a 4-pin, I can't remember. Well, yeah, I think if you can put a 4-pin fan on them, well, like with this this is one of those combos 3 or 4. But the problem is they won't have any speed control. If they're really designed for 4-pin, but they have that little pigtail with the 3-pin on it, and that one way up, and they'll run full blast, and it drive you crazy. Speed control won't work. I bought that, I believe. Yeah, it says it. That's been good, no trouble whatsoever. I bought those for $222. No, I was $287 when I bought them. 2 of them have already gone bad, like within a year, less than a year, 6 months of putting them in. I wrote notes on there. I've been using this to kind of remind myself about things. And so that is the end of my fan story, I think. This is going to have to be another day. Yeah, I don't want to do anything to get that fan out of there unless I'm sure. I don't want to send this back. But like, well, I had that out a minute ago, but let's see. I don't even really remember now exactly, but I believe this one, yeah, it does have one way it goes on there. This thing is supposed to set. That is so hard to work with. It's so small. Oh, you can't see what I'm pointing at. This little junction deal here. I'm seeing these on videos all the time, the bigger ones that they're using in house wiring, and I think that's what I gather is they used them in Europe for years, and they're beginning to use them in the U.S. and Canada now. I don't really like them. I like wire nuts. Quicker. I think they're more secure. I've always been around, I've always seen things like this in different side of different electrical equipment, and it's so easy to miss the wire. They always have like a big enough hole that you can put different gauges of wire in them. But I'm talking about this thing right here. Get on the other camera. I think you can see it better. Go back down here. So this little, they have a name they call them, and I can't remember it, but I like to never got these in there because I couldn't see. I can't see, and I think I was doing it on the endoscope trying to show it in the video too. But anyway, or did I just do that? I think I just did it. But but I like this. It doesn't take a lot to make it open up air-wise. I mean, this thing will open it up. It did open it up in any position. I mean, well, vertical or horizontal, but not after I got it installed, and it could only open like about half of them. When I had it in there like I wanted it, like I apart again. It's only one screw that holds that. It goes right there, but it's an adequate. But there we go. Yeah, see, that's the closed position. Now, if it's mounted like that, and before I ran it for 2 hours, it would open that easily. But when I mounted it the way I needed it, then you can't see the louvers, but it would open about half of them, and not the other half, and they were fluttering in the slight breeze. And that's the thing, the dryer vent. I know I have. Well, I've gone on and on too long. Most people know what a dryer vent looks like that goes through the wall. It's a round. On the inside, you'll have a piece of metal. Usually, it's always metal because plastic would melt. Piece of metal, about 4-inch duct, and then duct pipe. Like this piece here. This will just fit inside of where the where I took out the 4-inch. It was about 4 by 6, 4-inch duct with about 16 inches long or 20 inches long, and it had the other end of it had some flex hose on it. I had used it before, and for years, and then took it off the dryer. I ended up putting one going out the roof, and but I didn't need anything long. This was actually longer than what I needed, so that was why I used 2x4s and not 1x or anything as to hang it from, because I was trying to get more thickness, and it still was sticking up in there a little further than I wanted to, because I wanted that door to be able to flop, and it was holding it open. So I ended up putting two thicknesses of the weather stripping, but then when I screwed it down, it squished down to nothing. Finally, after I started looking at how tight it was, I loosened it up enough for it to expand just a little bit, not to rock or anything. So that was all good, and this is another piece of just a different, a newer. Well, that was I used up one of them that had a little left, and then this was a new one, a brand new one that I had out in the garage, and that's where it moved it when I stuck it up in the in there, and so I just left it like that. So I had a good seal, didn't have air blowing out the sides, and I didn't have a way for bugs and stuff to come through easily anyway. And so I thought I was all set. And then after I sat here and watched some videos and just tested it out and relaxed for a while before I went to bed, and it was about 2.5 hours. And I thought I heard it. I thought, am I hearing? What is that? That's the server? Is that this thing? And then when I said, well, I'm going to check on it before I go to bed. I still thought everything was okay. And it was just rattling. And once I opened the door, I could see how loud it was. And I don't remember now if I could tell any difference in the temperature in the closet or anything like it had gotten hotter. But anyway, it ain't going to, it's no good. It's already no good. So unless I want to use the louvers, this and the louvers are, well, I didn't show any of that. Well, I didn't have my links because I'm not on the server is what happened. But it's one of these without a fan, and I don't even remember if they had louvers that moved. I think they might have just been a grill. Was $12, $13, the cheapest I saw. And because I was thinking about buying that so that I'd have what I needed. And this is good because these louvers don't move, and so I could actually put a filter over this. This would actually kind of look nicer like it is, but that's not the main, that important in the roof of the closet where you never see it anyway. But this, I could put my filter over the outside of this, still be able to get to it to clean it or replace it or whatever. And those would still function. So that's why I really don't like, when you could buy something and it turned out to be bad, I like to send it back and get my money back just out of principle. But I'm going to do what's best for my needs, And I thought of that when I bought it. I thought, well, if the fan's no good, it looks like a decent grill, and the automatic opening and closing louvers. So, and and I did try. Let's see, what did I get? I went out and looked at my old fans. I have a few that work, and I only saw 180 millimeter, and I plugged it in. It was a 2-wire too, so it wouldn't be like I said, when you plug in a 3, I think it's a 3-wire might be okay because it's got positive, negative, and sense, but 4-wire has positive, negative, sense, and I thought the sense was the speed control. Oh yeah, the sense is the voltage reading. So the 3-wire may just be positive, negative, and speed control. The 4-wire would be positive, negative, speed control, and sense speed. Because in some BIOSes you can see the fan speed. And a regular desktop's what I'm talking about. So, and of course you get all that cool stuff in the HP, in a server. And you can see it through iLO from any machine that you can log in with. You could do it, and since mine's set up with a GUI, desktop system on it, I could do it from there. If I if I had an old browser on there, and I'll just install that XP virtual machine and do it that way, and it won't take forever to load up and everything on that machine. But so it may be that even if this motor is useless already, I may be able to use the whole case, the vent, just like I've got it designed here, the way I've wired it up and everything. All I'd have to do if I use one of those Braun fans that I have, I kind of think that those blades that are in there are quite a bit bigger than 4-inch, maybe 6-inch or something. They may not be, and there is. I kind of think that I think one of those motors would fit inside of here, and I could probably mount this on. I think it would just fit. I think it might just go right on. So if I get that out without damaging these blades, because this is it's not loud. It's really quiet. So and that motor is going to probably be more faster or more powerful than this one, which would be good. And if it didn't raise the volume, so maybe I can just put one of those other Braun motors in this, and it'll be all self-contained. And if I did need it to be any more lengths, like to fit the motor in there or something, then I can use some of that metal duct that I have. A little more work, but because then that's going to drop this down, and then I'd end up probably having to put. Oh, I forgot. Hang on. I can show. I forgot. I lied to you. Oh crap! I lied to you and didn't realize it. It wasn't just 2x4s in this. It was 2x4s in this to get that at just the right depth, and with my dryer fan. So I cut those out and drilled them and everything. And so that's how I had it. Those are spacers. That's all they are. And I didn't permanently mount them to the 2x4s. Well, it was just to get them in the right location. It was easiest to set them to fit this. I put them in there, and then I drilled back through that way, and then finished the hole out with it off. I think I set them in there and just marked the hole with the drill, or I think I marked it with the drill. I don't think I used a pencil on that. I wanted to be, because that's more accurate. Actually, you'll get what you're going to. Then that's exactly what you're going to get. And I was going to screw these to the 2x4s, and then I realized, well, there's no need in doing that. This holds them in there, and it's not like they're going to move. It's not in a car or a truck or something. It's not going to be no rattling and vibration until that motor blew out, and then it was rattling and vibration. But don't buy one of these fans expecting it to be a good fan, for darn sure. I mean, you think something that was kind of crappy to me, something lasts a year, like those Braun fans. They overheat and blow their thermal fuse. The last two that's blown, three. I think maybe, if I remember right, the first one they've just been getting from good to bad to worse. That's what. The original one we put in lasted 7 to 10 years. I bought, and it was real expensive at that time to buy the fans. You couldn't find them all separate like that, like I just showed you, at a cheap price, and I couldn't. And it was like $45, $55. Well, the whole thing is $65. The whole unit, with the heater, the exhaust, the box, the plastic grill, everything. So I just bought a whole nother one, and then but it's real hard to get the box out of the ceiling and all that, so I just plugged the new stuff into it's plug and play. Plugged it in, and the next one lasted a year, and the heater fan again. So I ended up doing the same thing again. This is the last time I bought any was like 4 years ago now. The next one lasted about a year, and the heater fan went out. And that during all that time, I learned what was going. Well, like I said, I learned that it was a thermal fuse. I ended up even getting some, but it seems that the fans are probably too weak to use anyway. Got some. I don't know. I guess I just thought, well, it wasn't too much to get them, and I thought I'll try it. And I never did because my health is always up and down. But so the one in there is blown. It's bad. I think I haven't taken it out to look at it yet, but I'm pretty sure it'll be another blown thermal fuse. And it's been up there like that for 2 years, maybe even 3. The exhaust fan works fine, and we've just been using. I don't need a heater. When I take a shower, it gets too hot in there for me anyway, winter or summer. So, they'll use a space heater we already had, in there. And then the one in the little bathroom. In the meantime, it gave, like I said earlier, the heat lamp went out, and it was a bad lamp. So I've got another one, and it didn't work. A week at the most, and it went out. I don't even remember. Not very long, and it was just there's just nothing there. And the lamp seems fine. I don't know. I might have taken it out and tested it, but and its fan is rattling like crazy. If I was using that bathroom all the time, I probably would have fixed it already. But I haven't taken any of it down or anything. I looked at it, and it's actually going to be harder to get the fan out of there than it would be I think you might have to take the whole box out or something to get the fan out of that one. Be harder than the big one in the big bathroom. But it's really, really simpler. The only hard part is getting up. See, I when I'm feeling my health is bad, I have to hang on to the walls to keep from falling just to walk, and to crawl up on, ladders and work over my head. And of course, there's so much dust in there, collects in those things. You need to vacuum it first, or you're gonna be in a bad way with allergies, And you can see how much trouble I have just sitting there in the room with the window open. So that's all my excuses for why I hadn't got that done. I keep thinking about it because I've been working so much on this and thinking about using some of those fans that I have from those things. And I saved them for parts, for either that or other types of projects. I thought, well, I might hang one in the garage to suck up fumes from gluing and soldering and stuff like that, but I never did that. But it's been years since I've done a project like with this much work into it. It's not a lot, but it is for me nowadays. So I actually, once I got it done, I was kind of like, oh, that's cool. That's kind of fun to do that, But I wonder where that screw went for that. Kind of thinking about putting the lid on it and putting the screw in it, but I don't know where I put the screw now. Be nice to find that. I think I put it in a little. It's a big bottle. Let me grab it and see if I know where it is, because I don't want to lose it. Oh, yeah. I just remembered the original. Once I mounted it in the attic in this kind of orientation, there wasn't enough room. This is the one screw that holds that cover on. There wasn't enough room for me to get any kind of screwdriver I have in there except for a right angle screwdriver. And the original screw was pretty wonky, and it didn't like any of the screwdrivers I had. It's a crappy screw. It's kind of like I didn't know it when I was a kid, but when I work on the motorcycles, my Honda, Yamaha that my brother had, my younger brother, I was always working on them for him. The screws on the case, I had screwdrivers the right size, but they still wouldn't grab. And I learned to get them off by hitting them with the screwdriver and a hammer, until they kind of came loose, and then getting them. Or sometimes I had to put vice grips on them or something. Or I don't think I had vice grips back then in the 60s. I don't know if they had those like we have now back then. But I'd use pliers or water pump pliers or something. Anyway, it really was hard to get them on and off. And I don't remember when I learned. I think I learned it when I was like 30 years old or something. That's a Japanese screw size. It's not a Phillips screw. It's something else they call it. And it's made different. And if you buy that Japanese screwdriver, then it'll work just fine. And I see it in videos all the time now. I like to watch videos and learn more about working on those old motorcycles now than I ever knew back then. I could always get them running good, pretty, and all that, unless something was. Remember that Honda 50 Mini Trail? That carburetor just wore out, and I'd fiddle with it, and it would run pretty good for a month or so, and then it'd get all messed up again. I finally realized that it was just wore out. The plunger that was in the throat that did the air fuel mixture is always getting stuck, down or up, But anyway, but the screw was so hard to get in with full access. I decided, I looked and I had some, where are those things? I don't know what I did with the one I had in it. It may be, I have a whole bunch of them outside. Here they are. But I had put some in here because I thought they'd be a good thing to have. So I think I'll just put one in it so that it'll be together and not flopping around. Little black screw with and those other ones were very rounded. One that came with silver, you can't see that. Very rounded head, and this one's got thick enough you can get a hold of it with pliers or anything like that if you need to. So that's what I use. So that actually, I think they might be a little bit bigger than the original, so I don't think the original would stay in there anymore. It's really weird. It doesn't ever want to. You hit it just right and it's great, no problems. But if it acts like it don't want to go on there. Okay. And it flops out anytime you. Yeah, that other one, this screwdriver is one of my favorite screwdrivers, and it just kept slipping out. This one grabs just like it should. That screw. So that's what I need to use in it anyway. That'll keep it from the wires getting broken or anything. They keep dangling out of there. So I don't know how I managed to just sit here and talk for another hour, but I sure can do it. When I get to going on about this stuff, whether it's computers or little stuff like this, I can just go. Talking. Okay, so I was hoping to actually test out other fans, but an hour ago I decided it's getting too late. And for me, since I've been up since like noon yesterday, I'm hungry and tired. And so what do? Just sit here and talk. I mean, I did show you all that stuff, but would have been really good to. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to go out in the garage and get some real tools out to get that motor out of there. And first I do have to go out in the garage and dig out those other motors. I may not want to take this apart. If they don't want, they're too noisy for sure. They don't run good enough. Like the ones that I have don't have enough power, too old and wore out. Then there's no point in taking this out of here. If I'm going to end up having to buy something, then I still may want this louvers, but if I have to end up buying, if those Braun fans don't work, I don't have any 120 millimeter fans that are not used in a machine. And the ones I did put in my machine, they, like this, you can really feel its air coming off of it. It was enough. But the ones with the computers, they're just like a high volume, but a very low flow rate. It's not, you got to really pay attention to tell if anything's coming out of there, But they do work. At first I thought, oh no, when I bought them, I thought, oh, I screwed up, these aren't going to work. But I decided to go ahead and try them because I'd read about them, and how they work is by moving a larger volume of air, and so, and it was true. They did work. Some of these other ones I look at that have like what was that? Those ones they said they did. If they really do 54 CFM, that's a lot for a 120 millimeter fan. They may be loud, but it might be good. It might be something I want. I'm getting myself turned around here. I thought I just started rolling up the table without thinking that I don't have a twisty there. I just had to do it. Let's see. I've got lots of twisties, but the right size, I'm running low. I've always saved my twisties. And that one looks like it'll work. It's going to come back off the next time I mess with it anyway. Yeah, I like to get one that's long enough to twist around the wire and then twist around the wire and make it around the bunch, but that one just makes it around the bunch, so that'll do. This is hopefully going to be installed in the ceiling of the closet, and it won't need a twisty because I've actually got some nice little plastic wire hangers, so just right for that kind of thing. I had bought them for that HDMI cable. When I originally bought that 30-foot HDMI cable that I use on the server now, 15 years ago, I was going to put, Mom had her computer monitor, her computer's like over here on one side of the room, and then she had a TV that had an HDMI input on her tall dresser that she'd watch from bed, so going around the room like that. But I was going to have to go up the wall, over the two doors, and then down to the TV. But then she decided she wasn't really interested in watching anything off the computer, on the TV. So I never did it. All right. Just messing with stuff now. Well, I'm going to go about time. 5 hours and 4 minutes. That's not too long. Nah. All right. See you later. Hopefully I'll finish up on what I end up doing. We're working in the closet and up over my head. We saw how much trouble it was just to get video of just what I was doing a while ago. That's why I've kind of that's why I put this up. Didn't show anything. I never showed it installed because it just didn't work out. I had to get another fan in there. So first I left it. I took this down, left everything else in place. Then I realized, well, I've got one screw holding this switch up on the door facing, and it's out. So I just took it out. So I didn't ever get to make a video of it installed. but that's okay. All right, I'm gonna go. Talk to you later.